welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons. And unfortunately, occasionally lose people to health issues, which is why we don't have an Ethan again today. He promises he does really want to come back. This was just the worst timing in the history of timing. Previously, after the, I don't even know if we can call it Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhic something in Anbeer. The Cupcake Coterie is on the hunt for, among other things, the giggling lunatic, who currently has a very unstable explosive device made entirely of, again, equally unstable radiant energy. They are not treating it particularly well either, this giggling lunatic, so they have to try and find them and stop them, lest a second Shattered Lance happen directly in their own back garden. However, they were mildly sidetracked, in a good way for once, by their youngish friend Molly Cathay, who they won the trust and affection of by getting her to Egref, to the academy in the first place, and did a whole bunch of research for them, not only in the cause of figuring out exactly how unstable the Kerboom was, but also happened to look into things like whether anybody could ever be immune to the soul-taint. Turns out, according to various rumors, yes. There is a half-orc named Lucas somewhere in Kobrea-Val, generally, the few bits that are not Egref and above ground, which there's not really very much interesting going on out there. It's mostly quarries, apparently. Who's out there because, while his research is quite necessary, it could also potentially be unsafe. So he's taking all due precautions. What all due precautions look like, you don't know, but you're going to find out, because while you need to spend a couple of days waiting for Ava to have a new rifle built because of an unfortunate incident with a fire trap, which, to be fair, only happened because it was a very big fire trap, they're going to go and visit this individual, at least in part, to find out whether LSA has been made immune by accident. Because according to the notes they have managed to find so far, that is a possibility. But before we go into that, we ended the session with Clarity having giving a bit of a treat to her patron at the little temple, and anything else you can do to be of help would be appreciated. And quietly in the back of your head, you're getting, I understand you are looking in the direction of improving your perception of the world.
Yes. I want to notice things that I haven't been seeing.
Well, then I have a task for you. I understand you are taking a trip tomorrow.
Yes.
The man you will meet there is very sad. He doesn't show it, but he is. You will have to notice things. You will have to find out why. And you will have to find a way to make him smile. Do that.
Got it.
Do that, and we'll talk again.
Sounds good.
Your little candied nuts selection is gone, and you have a origami butterfly that is actually flying. It lands on one of the flowers on your horn jewelry.
Go back to Hazel.
Yeah, and she has it's sitting on one of the flowers on her horn jewelry. It's a deepish purple that goes fairly well with her hair without matching, sort of complementing, and flapping its wings slowly.
What the?
I made a friend, and I have a mission sent from on high.
You're
As
getting
it were.
giggles in the back of your head because clearly she doesn't take herself that seriously, but she thinks it's funny. So there you go.
Mhm.
Any details as to the mission, or is it just shenanigans afoot?
Well, it's directed shenanigans. I have to discover why this person that we're going to meet tomorrow is sad and try to find a way to make him smile. That
Oh,
seems like
oh
a
boy,
worthy task.
that is adorable. And I very much can't wait to see what you end up doing.
I have no idea. Guess we'll see.
That we very much will.
Okay, whoever's booping, can we? I'm gonna start reminding people to mute their shit before we start sessions.
Wait, did someone actually do that, or did my
No,
statement?
there was the Discord boop noise.
Yeah, because I suppose they said it at the exact same time whenever that was happened. Wow. Timing.
Yeah, well,
I mean-
I can tell the difference. So, anyway, assuming that is more or less the end of that. Come morning, Barnabas is by and large wakened by Cherie prepping for another trip to the grocery store, supermarket, whatever.
Ugh, morning, love.
Good morning. Are you willing to be pack mule again in the in the cause of Bellarice toast?
Yes, always.
And perhaps we can bring Rylan and have them slightly less offended by picking up the actual maple syrup instead of the maple flavored syrup, just so just so they can sneer at it. I think it might do them good to sneer at something.
Hmm.
They
You
don't
know
get a
what?
chance very often, you know.
No, they don't. It would be. You're right, as always. It would be really good for them to get a good sneer on about something.
I think it aids their confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you're going to have to make sure that Darwin sits still for about 10 seconds because I have a mission for him.
Okay.
Oh,
Now,
you'll.
when you say
I-
sit still, are we talking like hand on shoulder, or do you need me to like do the full cuffs?
That depends on exactly how hyperactive he is this morning.
Ah, I see.
Use your judgment, darling.
Of course.
Yeah, Rylan, who's probably been trouncing, gets a knock on the door. Would you like
Morning.
to come and sneer at maple flavored syrup? We have another shopping trip. I could just ask the kitchen for ingredients, but it seems like cheating just now.
Why not? Gets me out a little more.
I just think it does you good to be derisive of something now and then. It's a reaction beyond what is this. It feels
Very fair.
it feels like a good thing to encourage. And yeah, shopping happens, and I'm assuming there's not going to be very much in the way of shenanigans. But
Not from Barnabas, at least.
there is very much actually. No, this is Cherie. She's very sensible. Stops partway down the stairs and peers in at Polly, going, "Actually, is there a market?" Yes. I'm assuming you're asking about the foods? Well, yes. That's at least part of it. While your supermarkets are fantastic and all, I tend to prefer the freshness of a market stall first thing in the morning. Yes, actually, it's You might need to take a little bit of a trolley ride, but not too much. Gives directions, and every market I know none of you would have heard of. Because for me, it's the Atwater Market in Montreal and Borough Market here. But it's basically the kind of farmer's market. All the things is fresh, sort of dealy. And anything they don't have here, we will pick up on the way back. But mostly it's fresh eggs, fresh bread. I'm going to need someone to be on slicing duty, but that should be fine. I'm sure most of you aren't really used to sliced bread anyway. What do we think? Sausages, bacon, or ham? Or some combination of the above?
You know what? Let's go with ham. It'll be a nice change up, I think.
Fair enough. And if I get a bit extra, because I was also thinking of what to bring this Lucas individual, because I'm from Ambia, we do that. I was thinking part of the reason for the freshness is I want to make my potato puffs, which you never remember to ask about.
Oh. Oh, yep. Oh, that'd be a wonderful idea.
You seem slightly apprised of these. What have you heard?
What I've heard is out of character. It was one of those. If she makes it for you, she really likes you, or oh my god, they're great, or was it both?
It was more that the woman at the wine bar said that ask her about them because she brings them to us on sangria nights.
Well, considering the lady at the wine bar told me to ask you about them because you bring them to them on sangria nights, it kind of sticks in the mind a little.
I see, and of course it's been a bit busy meanwhile. Basically, it's grated potato, grated onion, 3 kinds of cheese, a little bit of ham if you're feeling a bit more protein desiring. Bind them together with a bit of egg and bake them for about 15 minutes.
Mm.
So you wind up with potato puffs. And we'll just have to see if they have the right kind of cheese. Because yeah, apparently it contains fancier cheese. But picks up everything, and there is actually a stall that deals in syrups, jams, and honeys. And Sheree turns around to Rylan and goes, they seem to have a couple of different grades of maple syrup. I'd like you to pick. I assume you're more of an expert than I am.
Then I would be glad to help along.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, with the appropriate questions from the individual manning the stall, as per usual, it's the more expensive one, but you can tell by the color it's reached and the clarity of it that yeah, this is going to be some good maple syrup.
Oh, the others are gonna love this.
Well, to be fair, the others would probably love just about anything, but some of them have more refined palates than that. But thank you very much.
And you're very welcome.
And you know, into the bag that goes, and they actually managed to pick up everything at the market, up to and including some fresh pressed apple juice.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm imagining that's because Sheree happened to notice Rylan looking in that general direction and going, we're going to take a couple of bottles for that. So, yeah, bring all the stuff to the kitchen and looks over. Now, is Alice as thoughtful as I think she is? Goes over to the doorway and finds 2 switches. One's apparently the lights. The other one presses, and in the rest of y'all's rooms, ding, 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 ding. You're hearing bells basically to wake you up and indicate that it is time for breakfast, because you're a little far away from the kitchen to be smelling the coffee, French toast, etc. And because you do not have negative int scores for the most part, you know exactly what that's about. But of course, it's Clarity who's not very good at mornings.
I don't want to go to school.
Babe. Babe.
What? It's early. I do my learning later.
Consider the coffee.
You make a fine argument.
Consider deliciousness. Up, get, come on. I try to interact with both again, we're just gonna get tangled.
I'm
You are made of agile, I am made of klutz.
Of course, it probably doesn't help that Clarity, because of the cat door up towards the ceiling, is covered in cat.
One,
Very
two,
carefully moving cats.
Unfortunately, she's probably moving them on to Hazel.
Oh no. Babe,
put one on top of her head.
Yeah, just in a cowhide fucking cat fight with oh god help.
Michigan kind of dive bombs into the massive cats.
Oh boy.
Cats scatter in all directions. And then there's Michigan on top of Hazel's chest doing the
Latch, lift,
delicious,
snug.
snug. hello, Jagaimo.
Jagaimo.
Snoozing on the bed.
I'm going to assume everybody eventually gets down to breakfast, or
Yes.
over to breakfast. But yeah, you've got effectively French toast, fried ham. And Cherie is in the midst of making little balls of what appears to be grated potato and cheese and things. I'm making these now so that they're ready when it's time to go and meet this Lucas individual.
Coffee.
Yes. Darwin, while I understand that as a bard you're going to want the experience, I have a job for you. Okay. I mean, what? But I'm happy to, but is this kill a man in Egriff just to watch him die kind of job? What's-
Behold, Bard am error.
I haven't had enough coffee for this. Honestly, this is something that I apologize, Alice. I am sort of springing this on you as well, but it feels like now that we have a couple of days to get some things done in, there's one thing that does need to be done. For the longest time, most of the people in Equitas didn't know that there were Azamar, and most of the world didn't know they existed. And there's the whole issue where now that they are predominantly deceased, the gods are displeased by the mistreatment of their gifts. The only thing I could think of to start making that up to them is honoring those gifts. I'm going to make some calls, and Darwin, I'm going to be expecting you to do the final negotiations on this. Alice, I think I see where this is going. Yes, I can dance the story of them as far as I know it. Thankfully, it does not require a lot of rehearsal because it's more storytelling in the more poetic people dialect than anything else, so. But yes, because it's going to be like that, I'm going to need it to be attended by some people who actually understand the language of the people, probably someone to actually do a recording of it, various people to take notes, and yes, I am sorry, Alice, but yeah, I know it's historical, whatever. Yeah, I get it. I'm happy to. You know that I'm big on trying to make the gods change their mind, or at least say, I don't know, sorry, so many people in this world are assholes. I'll make you up a list of who I'm expecting you to deal with. I'm going to be spending most of this breakfast on my sending stone to people, just to ease the path for you. Thank you. Yes, I am going to give a warning that you might wind up goggling your own boot. Thank you. Drink your coffee. And yeah, sure, he spends the rest of the breakfast kind of alternately checking on various batches of potato puffs and occasionally talking very sharply at people through it's like watching a very high level executive assistant talking to people via cell phone.
Barnabas will absolutely volunteer to assist with the potato puffs in any way that he can.
In fairness, the first batch is getting. You can assist by taste testing them. You and the rest of them.
Yay.
So, before any of that kind of performance has to happen, we're speaking to Lucas. We've got no way to warn the poor man that we're turning up. That's why Cherie's making potato puffs, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That and apparently gifting of food is an Amber thing.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure that we know how we're playing this, because we're basically turning around to this individual and asking, do you know how to make people immune to the soul-taint? But that kind of feels like something that's a bit much to bludgeon someone with on turning up at their door unexpectedly.
Yeah. But at the same time, do we really have time to beat around the bush?
I mean, if your gun's not going to be ready until tomorrow at the earliest, we can at least spend a half an hour on pleasantries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we definitely could do that, but we also don't want to, what do you call?
Impose?
Hem and haw. Yeah, impose and also hem and haw too much where we get suspicious what we're getting up before we even ask them the question, you know?
Yeah, but there's a difference between hemming and hawing and showing some interest in the person before we hit them with what you can do for me.
Yeah. Because this guy doesn't seem to be well often interacted with in general from what we've been told. So it's not like people turn up at his place regularly enough for him to be good, a regular dispensing advice or doing this or applying his research to people.
I mean, at the very least, we can ask him about the rest of his research. Maybe start with our various experiences with it, but especially Bree and Barnabas. Because, like, you've been fighting it for years.
Yeah.
find out about
Direct
whatever
concepts.
whatever the rest of explain what we've been doing and why. Express an interest in the rest of his research. 'Cause it doesn't sound like anybody
And tell him
expresses.
what we've seen.
Yeah, but the reason I'm going into interest in the rest of his research, so it's not just that one thing.
Yeah, good idea. Good point.
Because if he doesn't interact with people all that much, there might be things that, if we can get a message to Belarus, we can send to the guys in the Southern Lands, and it might help.
Further example, send word, I guess, because remember we saw Black Crown turn. We saw him die and then turn into an ooze dragon.
Yep.
That, and then he flew off where? Northwards?
Yeah. And then there was that
Word basically everywhere to the north because, yeah, that's fuckery inbound.
and
Flying, dripping fuckery.
I mean there was also the white dragon in Gray's Inn, Varidel, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Basically, you have to make a point of warning people that flying, drippy fuckery is inbound.
Shit's going on in Cragveer. And I just want us to have this stuff in our heads before we go, because I know us, and we'll go in, deal with the one thing we remember, and then leave and realize the 5 other things we could have asked.
So long as we all remember to give each other opportunities to do so, too.
Yeah. But mostly with you guys, it's prodding you to remember to actually say it and translating.
By and large, yeah.
So I mean, we don't have to hear about it all now, but keep in your head the thing that's you think it would be most important to tell somebody who studies the soul-taint as a matter of. It's the same kind of calling that you got, Ree, just from the power of science rather than the power of the divine. So he's probably going to take this pretty seriously.
I hope so.
You know what I mean, not... He's not going to have patience with people turning up at his door, is what I'm saying. Unless there's mutual give and take here.
Yeah, especially if he went to such lengths to isolate himself.
Well, I think that's a safety thing more than anything else.
That too, yeah.
And I'd be interested in the kinds of precautions he's taking, although I probably don't want to ask about that too much, because I imagine that if he's that serious about it, the precautions would be if there's any real containment breach, self-destruct happens. But I guess we'll see when we meet him, and hope he likes potatoes. And Cherie is sort of going, I don't care what you had planned this evening. This is a historical landmark we are talking about. Sorry, Alice. Yes, we will cover your tab. Pity's sake. I think she's probably going to need another few minutes. I know that level of impatience. I'm only halfway done and I've had to deal with this already, look.
I bet you anyone who gets really angry at them.
Yeah, I'm never going to find that one out.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. I think the person who's seen her get closest is Barnabas.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And then again, didn't she go straight to hand crossbow? She got exceptionally pissed.
Yeah. But I still got the... how do I put this? Default exceptionally pissed goes to the hand crossbow, but I also realized, just from observation, there is an option. There is another level you can push her to, and you don't want to go there.
I'm assuming that the blueberry assholes were involved in that one.
Yeah, getting there.
Yeah, admittedly, I kind of want to see that. And Darvin is like, right? I just don't want it directed at me.
Right. Like, in like a stadium with binoculars. I would love to watch it. Maybe not so close.
And Darvin is, no, I'm all about seeing the facial expressions. See, I want one of those splash barriers, Darvin. Yeah, that's actually a good term.
There's also being point blank on it, like, for example, being dragged in to mediate somehow a court case. Sorry, you mentioned blueberry assholes, and I remember that being an entire court case and a half.
Yeah, but I don't think Sharia needs any of us bunchy yahoos to mediate for her. Not with the gear she slapped that Tansy vampire with.
Yeah, that was spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And that is his "that's my lady" expression.
Yep.
What you're currently getting is, yes, I understand that Governor Etienne is very important, but they are very much going to be interested in this, and quite frankly, miss, I outrank you, so get him on the phone.
What? Just notes for what I don't do. Tones of voice to raise even more warnings. Just be on the safe side.
That's adorable.
Yes, thank you. I will neglect to mention the difficulties I had in getting through to them. Hello, Governor Etienne. Just from absolutely pissed off to hello in like 0.5 seconds.
She is scary. In a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, just giving Barnabas, that tracks.
Look, turns out I'm attracted to scary.
And competent.
Mm-hmm.
That she is.
Eventually, breakfast happens. The rest of the potato puffs are handled. Darvin is sent off with a list of people and some very specific notes on what he is and, more to the point, is not to say. So it's probably less notes than an entire notebook at that point.
Things Darvin is no longer allowed to verbalize.
Yeah, in this case, pretty much. He gives that kind of slightly slump-shouldered, yeah, it sucks that I need this, but this is fair. And heads off into Egref because, well, it is a good cause, so good luck. Also, I have to remember to get tuna for that cat. I should get tuna for all of the cats. But extra tuna for the one I tripped over. I'll think of something. And off he goes. Right. That's all sorted. Everyone's had enough breakfast?
Thank you very much.
We have been fueled, and thus live.
And how were the potato puffs?
Really good.
Outstanding.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, yes, you are the quintessential farm girl, and potatoes are kind of one of your reasons for living.
Yeah. Somebody messes with the potatoes. Well, let's just say they make remarkably good projectiles. And someone will be subject to death by potato.
There's a particular area within the province of Zlato Aurora that does most of our potatoes, which we must give you a tour of sometime.
Okay.
Once at least some of this is over, we will arrange an entire tour for you. Various of our the produce, the livestock, all the rest of it. I think you'd be interested.
Just increasingly leaning.
In that direction.
Yes, but right now we have a Lucas to meet, and again, we should not be doing a teleportation circle here. That might tear holes in things we really don't want to tear holes in. Let me ask Polly if she's okay with us doing a teleportation circle in Remy and Alice's room. I will see you in there once I've asked her. And so yeah, out the door into the corridor, and then removes the key, and then back in to the actual room. And Shree comes through and goes, "No, she's entirely fine with that. As long as we're using chalk, it's apparently easy enough to clean up. So,
Fair enough.
I mean, I didn't really have the heart to tell her that it goes away in a minute anyway, but she'll have that as a pleasant surprise later on." So, who's doing the circle? I don't remember if Remy's is still going today.
I don't think she's done it in the last week.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, because we mostly had Rylan doing them. I mean, it all depends on who wants to, and whether we think that's the best use of spell slots. Or,
And Remy will do it.
okay. Sketch the teleportation circle, get into the teleportation circle. There's that moment of vertigo, and you're in kind of a metal box.
Oh, not again. Nope, nope. Get out, out, out.
There doesn't seem to be a door at first. But this kind of net of light starts at kind of around about your feet level. Doesn't feel like anything, but goes up and back down, sort of breaking through you all the way. Little panel on the wall lights up.
Hello?
7 little squares on it light up green, and one lights up white. There is a beep, and a section of the wall sort of slides open, revealing a longish metal corridor.
Oh, I like this even less.
Okay, the door opened. No problem.
She doesn't like enclosed spaces, Ree.
Fair. Let's
Come
get
on,
rolling.
Hazel. The sooner we get through it, the sooner we might have some actual space, okay?
Mm-hmm. Come on. Out. Move. Going.
Yeah, she's actually taking you by the shoulder and just nudging you down the corridor.
once given any sort of impetus, just accelerating.
Let's go as the acceleration happens. Yeah, okay. Get to another metal panel, which thankfully, as you approach it, opens. And what you're in at that point is it's kind of like a hunter's storage shed. Mostly stone walls. For a rug with weirdest. It seems to be of an entire animal, and yeah, it would resemble the average bear if it didn't have two heads. There is the head of what appears to be a buck, except it's got like 3 eyes mounted on the wall. There's a couple of very large axes hanging up on the wall, and on the door that you have to assume leads out reads, "Please wipe your feet before exiting." On the welcome mat, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow through with that instruction.
Okay, and that door you actually turn a handle to open, and where you find yourself in when you open the door is an actual outside. It's just very barren, very rocky.
So wait, we actually aren't in an underground anymore?
No, you are on surface level, but it's by and large rock. There is a fairly unimaginative looking stone building about 100 yards off that way. But everything else is rock as far as the eye can see.
Of course, the tail end of the teleportation has to be in a box, while the rest of everything else out here is actually under open sky. I was half expecting to come out in a tunnel.
I think they were checking us for something.
For the black stuff, probably.
That would make sense.
An entire Magitech construct just for that. I'm impressed, terrified, and still really uncomfortable.
I'm not interested in. Did you notice that one of them lit up white?
Yeah, but we could guess at that all day and not figure out an answer. So why don't we just ask the man?
Exactly. Just trying to figure that out. We're not going to get anywhere, and 2, the alternative would have been, I don't know, vaporization given Magitech.
Which point you start hearing a kind of a yip 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 yip.
What the?
Dog, sort of mid-size, floppy-eared, no particular breed, and for reasons you cannot possibly fathom, 6 legs.
Okay,
He's the grubbiest, scruffiest, white
was weird. What is this area? Just magic, just arcane radiation zone?
Either way,
Hi, sweetie, can I pet you? And I let him sniff my hand.
sniff, 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 sniff.
Somebody make a mini Shattered Lands here while we weren't looking?
Lick, 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 lick.
No. Looks like it likes you.
Okay. Fair, that is adorable. But
Unusual, I agree.
yeah, don't mind me. I'm just used to my wildlife and farm animals and various other domesticated things having a normal number of limbs.
You have a bird cat.
Yeah.
The bird cat is actually
magically created with intent.
and your bird cat is actually leaving the bag and it lands in front of the dog. Adorable?
Adorable!
Uh-oh. is my only response. That's a new word, and that one's concerning.
No, adorable is not a new word. It's not usually used in question form.
Yeah, okay, correct. This is just the less new word, more. That's a new use for that one. I mean, Clarity says yes, then yes.
Alice says, I don't think that was the best thing to say because
Anyway, you
attempts
Michigan,
against to
Snug.
pounce on the adorable because nobody's allowed to be adorable around
you,
Hazel.
Michigan,
But
here, Snug, now.
torn, boing over to Hazel. Snug, mine.
Correct.
Snug. The dog looks bewildered, but starts galumphing back towards the house.
Slenderizing other adorable things.
Adorable. In that kind of, I am the cute one.
Yes, you are adorable.
Peak adorable.
Oh no.
That one's new.
Yeah, Mom.
I imagine we're being watched.
We are more than likely being watched. Given Magitech McScan's machine.
Can we maybe not be rude about this man in his own front yard?
Mm-hmm.
I'll need a minute, and I'm just going to apologize in advance. A bunch.
Yeah, as you turn up, the door to this unassuming stone brick of a building is actually kind of, it's made of wood and it looks like your typical cottage door. And it does open when you all turn up, and fairly average half-orc gentleman, a bit of grey in the hair, sort of on the green side of the average orcish skin tone, flannel and denim, and work boots for the most part. Definitely does not look like a scientist. I am going to skip the niceties. What are you doing here? I wasn't expecting visitors today.
Well,
We'll start
are-
with who you are. Then I decide whether I invite you in or not.
yes, sir. We are the Cupcake Coterie. My name is Clarity. We are here because we are interested in your research.
You are interested in my research.
Yes, sir.
I suppose I'm not getting a why until I invite you people in.
Well, we were told about you by a Mr. John Barley.
Oh,
and-
really? Apparently somebody is not going to be entirely impressed at one Mr. John Barley the next time he comes by.
And we are in the process of trying to stop the soul-taint. We are adventurers trying to stop the soul-taint from infecting everything.
Sure he is. Technically I'm not, but I am from Anbia and I brought potato puffs.
Yes, and potato puffs.
Well, you could have led with you brought food. Come in.
Sorry. We're sometimes a little bit bad at introductions.
You're adventurers. You either expect people to know you, or you would prefer it if people didn't know you because plausible deniability.
Yeah, that seems frighteningly accurate.
You're not that much different than mercenary companies. You're just a little less organized.
We do have a couple of former mercenary company people among us, so yeah, that's probably also frighteningly accurate. Good gods above and below.
When you get in, see, the outside looks like stone brick. The inside looks like log cabin. At least the sitting room. So it's mostly wooden furniture, mismatched and that kind of overstuffed squashy. It's also very much arranged for one person. I mean, there is a sofa and an armchair. There is a dining table with two chairs, one on either end. There is a rug that is something more fur, something spotted. You're not really sure what, because most of the bits were removed. But there's not a lot of places for people to sit.
I'm still containing Michigan. What, if I may, what was that made out of? I'm gesturing towards the rug.
Don't know if you have a word for it. I just call it one of those spotted things.
Was it anything like the stuff that we saw in the shed?
Sort of. Except this one is good in stew.
Put it in stew, makes good rugs. Anything. Spotted things. Is it a predatory or like more like livestock sort of thing? You got me curious now.
Predators tend not to be good eating. Meat eaters tend not to be good eating. Omnivores are sometimes okay.
Trying to remember if there was ever an instance where Hazel has consumed bear.
Probably not. No, it might have been an option if you'd gone to Aembach in certain times of year, but
yeah, between back home and everything else, the only stuff Hazel's had is just is more normal farm stuff.
Yes.
And the interesting spicy stuff from here on out because of adventures and culinary nonsense.
Yeah, the last few months have been culinary adventures for Hazel. I mean, if you're here around lunchtime, I can probably make up something out of... Recently there was Boulder Bear.
Boulder bear?
Boulder Bear, yes.
What makes it a boulder bear?
It's where it lives and what it looks like.
Makes sense.
Bear.
Has nothing to do with the soul-taint, so why we're asking about this, I don't know.
We're just making small talk.
I see. Well, you see, I'm not exactly placed for small talk.
That's alright.
Entirely fair.
Thank you for your permission.
Oh, it's not permission, it's just...
More,
You're okay.
Oh, good. I was so worried that I was offending you somehow.
Honestly, having this amount of straightforward has been really, really nice compared to some of the things we've encountered where it's been, say, one wrong thing and oh no, everyone explodes.
Literally?
Possibly.
It could have happened.
Once or twice.
Once or several times.
Adventurers. What is this?
Michigan, a church griffin.
They bred tiny griffins out of crows and house cats. Adorable. Peak adorable.
And oddly enough, a remarkably good channel for divination.
Omen.
Clerical
Gremlin.
variety.
Omen gremlin. Is this why Noodle looked spooked?
Is Noodle your dog?
Yes.
Oh, Noodle. That's a perfect name.
Thank you.
I like
Yeah,
Noodle.
the spooking was probably the gremlin's fault. I am very sorry.
This crumbles up to Hazel. Mine! Ah. Okay. That explains things. You get this, Noodle. The apples up to Clarity and just kind of sits on her feet. No, Clarity.
Scritch, 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 scritch.
Yeah, not moving. Might as well be a rug himself. Just.
Happy pumpkin.
So, while I'm stuck here, because your dog is on my feet, I thought we could tell you a bit about what we know and what we've done, and maybe we could have an exchange of information?
I'm going to have to be hospitable. I'm not very good at hospitable. What it's going to happen is I'm going to attempt to find another chair or two. I think there might be some somewhere. And then I'm going to ask you questions, and then we will see where we are. Because I have questions. Even for here, there are too many of you things with wings.
That's fun.
That sounds amazing, actually. Thank you.
Clarity. You are you are intelligent. You have a mission. At some point, you're going to have to find a way to get a look at the rest of this, at least the living quarters.
Okay.
Just as a this is a potential thought while he's something that hits you when he's leaving the room to get chairs.
I'm going to... Is Noodle pick-upable?
Yeah, Noodle's not huge. Noodle is kind of lasso apso kind of size.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to pick up Noodle and carry them as I would Norman and just have a look around the living room.
Yeah, I mean, as I've explained, the living room is, I mean, it's log cabin, and the only thing of any particular interest besides the whatever animal that rug came from is you've been in a few inns where they've kind of had to more or less decorate with whatever happened to be handy, whatever some noble house threw out. That's what this is. It's this old hunting print that you think may have wound up being part of, because it looks like the kind of style you'd see in barons, vir nobles' houses, and it's old enough to be something they threw out. But it's clearly one of those things that you'd, like, find at a garage sale or a thrift shop or something. Beyond that, and a couple of oil lamps, this is where people go, so it keeps that pretty anonymous.
Okay. And there are no sort of personal effects
Not
anywhere?
Not in this room, no.
Okay.
I figure give you a take 20 on that one, because it's not a huge room, because, again, also very little furniture. It does manage to drag out a couple of chairs. sits in the armchair, and Alisaie's like, "Don't worry, I'll stand." Nobody has chairs that suit me. Yeah, 'cause the sofa's one of those little ones that seats two, so there's like one other of you is going to have to stay standing. To be fair, probably Barnabas, because
I was
most
gonna say,
chairs aren't.
Be big.
Well, it's also more the body habitus, how his legs work.
yeah, he'll absolutely stay standing, or maybe even just sit on the floor.
Fair enough. Though, to be fair, that eats a lot of floor space in a fairly
He'll
small
stay-
room.
He'll stay standing then to try to do his patented trying to minimize how big he is.
I take up much less space than it looks like I do, really.
I mean, when people can instantly notice when he's no longer doing it, it's not as...
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so I have names from one of you.
Remy Crustwind.
Hazel Hearth.
Barnabas Stumplefink. Not even a smile.
I go by Rylan.
You go by. Not your name is. Or is that just a way of speaking?
It's just a way of speaking. I apologize for the confusion.
It is simply these times that I do remember that, however far back, you have some Fey ancestry in there, and I'm always a little careful with the words from ones that come by Fey. So when you say you go by, it's entirely possible that you could have another name. Not that it would matter either way, but I like to know what I'm dealing with. LSA Featherwind. Shuri Belascu. You I've heard of. A wonderful word has spread. Well, you send reports occasionally. I rubber stamp reports occasionally. Not that I don't read them, but that many signatures, just no. Looks over at Ava, because that's the only one who hasn't given a name yet.
I did.
Then it got drowned out by other people.
Ava Vanada.
Okay. And I'm guessing the ones that are former mercenaries is you, points at Remy, and you, points at Barnabas.
Yes.
Because you, I think I heard something about. You get a Minotaur running around and not killing everyone indiscriminately. It makes news.
And not trying to eat everyone in sight. Yeah, I know.
So, I know why I stopped being with the mercenaries. Why did you?
Higher calling.
Honestly, I stumbled upon them, or they stumbled upon me, and I was just sick and tired of the life, and might have a way to get. Yeah, I thought maybe they could help me possibly get back home.
From your expression, that didn't work quite the way you hoped. But yet might have worked out better than you thought.
More like I traded one and found another.
Fair. We all know how that is. Few of you are wearing holy symbols.
Like I said, higher calling.
And you were all fighting the soul-taint.
That's right.
You going to have to give me a bit more detail out of this. And all I say is, how about we start with the fact that it's been giving Barrensveer shit for months. Also, we annihilated a good chunk of it in Black Crown. You what?
Explosively.
It filled the entire basement of it. And we
And
blew
they've
it
been
up.
up to doing that for at least years beforehand because they had a stranglehold on the area. A dragon running essentially part of I guess a cult revolving around this stuff at this point.
A corrupted dragon.
So, wait, the dragons are involved in this?
Aggressively.
We,
Tiamat,
with
I
all
think, has some
respect,
kind
we
of a
might be a
plan.
couple.
One
steps
at a time. What was this about Tiamat?
We might be a couple steps ahead on that one.
Oh boy.
Tiamat is the reason that the corruption has been entering the world.
No. Tiamat is the reason it's been entering the world more. It was always entering some point.
Fair.
It's always been lurking around places trying to find a way in. It's
And its
done.
end seems to be. Sorry.
It's done a few genocides over the centuries.
Ugh.
Yeah,
About-
you can indirectly add another one species and one subspecies to that. Is this where I ask why you have wings? Variant Azamar, one of 3 left in the world. Also, most of the Silver Dragonborn are gone. That part I knew about. I didn't know why. I just knew there were a lot fewer than there used to be. So, okay. This is obviously not just in the Southern Lands anymore.
Correct.
Yeah. Last place we saw the very corrupted dragons heading was towards Cragveer,
This does not surprise me.
and there's also a presence working with them in the Elven Wild. A green dragon. I don't know if that one's as corrupted as the rest are. We've only seen a white and a black turn half to sludge.
Rylan, this is probably around the time when you might want to mention that, given some of the draconians and the various other corrupted things, if the green in the Elven Wild isn't corrupted, then something else is going on, because something else very
Given-
improbable is going on.
Given how many of my kind have had to be displaced by said draconic nonsense going on, if the green dragon that's there isn't corrupted, then we have a whole lot more questions.
Well, I would apologize for not knowing any of this, but Barrensveer keeps to itself most of the time. And yet there are so many of you from there.
Yeah. We kind of got. Well, displaced is a word. Just in the process of trying to figure out what was going on there while we were there. Some of us were just trying to solve problems as they were cropping up and found that the problems are way more far reaching and way deeper than expected. In some cases, literally, given the basement full of the soul-taint and all of that in Black Crown, as well as other attempts in, I think, Gray's Inn that they made to try and siphon the stuff into it. And
No,
then
I
in a
also-
similar fashion, I just remember a giant puddle full of the stuff and again, dragon turning partly to sludge before we had to kill it again.
Undead driders.
Sorry, who said undead riders?
Alice. Also,
And that.
also the soul-taint was making pocket dimension bubbles.
Creating those
Bringing
fell
monsters
into one.
life.
A few of us fell into different ones.
Yeah, I think we all did pretty much.
Various levels of stabbing or finding our way out happened.
Yeah, the only reason we bring that part up now is because it's gonna come up later. But that's another thing. Fact is that just to make a long story short, we have a fair bit of insight into what the soul-taint is doing on this continent. And that's why we are so interested in your research. We have, one, we are fairly close to the quick flight diminutives, who, retired as they are as helpful as they can be about producing the radiant kerboom. Yeah. There is a minor problem with somebody else getting a little overzealous and making far less stable kerboom, but that's not a you problem. How is this not a me problem? Because it's not really involving the black shit except tangentially. The black shit. We don't have
The
to be
soul-taint.
we don't have to be scientific about it. Fair enough. So you obviously know about the radiant energy in certain forms being way to destroy the soul-taint. So, and I have several different research projects on the go about this. I have I'm trying to determine how much and how well to explain to you, because lay people tend to get a little side-eye when I mention it. I've been working on ways, or if there is any possibility of cleansing. I've not had very much luck with that, but I keep trying. I found a few marginally protective apparatuses and materials.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know what it is that you're looking for.
We were directed to you regarding a ritual that grants immunity,
Why do you
and
need...
whether or not it may have already almost accidentally happened to, I'm gesturing to Alice.
So... You see, the reason I didn't bring it up because I figured you knew.
Is that what the white spot was?
Yes.
We weren't sure if that was it, so we suspected.
Okay, I'm going to want to hear about this. I'm guessing you're the bard of the equation. One of them. The better spoken of them. So how about you? Tell me how you wound up being made immune to the soul-taint by accident. Hey, Ree, this is gonna get very romantically epic in your honor. Again.
Yep. Mhm.
Oh boy.
And,
There's a play. There's already a play. It can't get crazier.
yeah, but it's the
You
first
did not
time.
just say that,
Famous last
Hazel.
words.
That's. Do you see, I wasn't going to mention that for once. I was going to do my own take on it because, I want to celebrate how often my wife has saved my life or returned it to me or both.
Always tells it better from the source.
I will be kind and not mention the play or
Thank
ask
you.
about it. Thank you. And on that note, we are at about break time, so we'll have as the break, Alice basically praising Remy to the skies, and making her look a very romantic hero, and downplaying everything she did in the entire thing, because she be like that. So when we come back, we'll get back to that. And we're back at the end of Alice explaining more or less how she ended up apparently accidentally immune to the soul-taint. And Lucas is just... I'm taking it from this that you want to know why this happened. Because most of you seem either vaguely disbelieving or somewhat confused.
Well, we had a bare bones description of it where, or thought about it, where the soul would become kind of damaged, but resurrection fills in the gaps with radiant energy.
Not so much. I understand what you're saying, but a couple of stages there have been missed.
Okay.
Alice pipes up with, also, Ree seemed to assume that something more of a ritual was required. Ah, well, you see, funny about that, science doesn't give a shit. Admittedly, part of it is an intent thing, but it's more complicated. Resurrection does damage the soul, yes. Which is why for many people it becomes harder the more often resurrection happens. But this time when the soul was damaged without an actual death, this pocket dimension thing that she went into that was separating people from their connections to the gods, that caused a more extreme sort of damage more quickly than resurrection after resurrection after resurrection. Because most of the time the soul sort of heals up on its own, but that wouldn't have healed from the sounds of things. It's not exactly about the death and the resurrections. It's about the extra radiant energy patching the soul together. The soul is already a tiny radiant spark, but you've noticed that while radiant energy will damage the soul taint, it is still possible to taint gods. Funnily enough, mortals are harder.
Okay.
It's a different sort of thing. When there's a lot of different theories on this, I have written much about all of them, but the best way I can come up with to explain it is that when gods are important and big and all of the rest of it, but there are also manifestations of energy that is given to the sun and the spring and the winter and all the rest of that. A humanoid soul, a sapient being's soul, is more resilient. It has more parts. It does not rely on a specific thing to be. So if you imbue that being able to stand on its own with enough of the radiant energy that the soul-taint doesn't like, you may get a little bit sick if you end up getting tainted, but that goes away. Because the radiant energy that is patching your soul together burns out of you. It's just that because the soul taint is on a thought mimetic level, it can avoid the whole radiant energy of the things and go straight to the concept. None of this is making any sense to anybody, okay. Just trust me on this.
Taking copious notes.
But yes, according to my scanners, you are immune. I'll warn you guys right now, getting to be so was absolute bullshit. But yes, you have to understand I cannot do these things for you.
If it's not a ritual, then what exactly do we have to do?
Exactly what happened to her.
Fair enough.
It still needs, it does still need a divine or at least powerful presence to do the imbuing. You probably have to have a fairly good relationship with the individual in question to do that. That's not going to be a problem for you. Points Remy for you. Points to Hazel. And apparently for you. Points to Ava. Though you look new to be wearing that.
Sorry, didn't
The reason.
difficulty hearing what you
What
saying after the for you bits.
No, that's literally it's not a problem for Remy, Hazel, or Ava because you're all wearing holy symbols of some
Divinity
type.
connections.
Yeah.
Guess that would include Dalvin as well.
Alisage just chimes in with Bahamut threw a little bit of divinity into his soul anyway. He just hasn't done the dying part. So yeah, you'd have to have Bahamut put more, just to seal up the cracks, if nothing else. You, looking at Clarity, don't seem the godly type, but anyone who glitters like that probably has a fey patron of some kind, so you're probably okay.
I was recently ice cream.
It's nothing. I don't know what is to be done about gestures in Rylan word direction.
We're not able to assist them with our own connections.
I mean, you probably could, but it depends on whether they'd be comfortable with it. You can't just make someone be comfortable with a deity pumping them full of energy.
Oh, I think that I don't want to say that's the easier part, but compared to the part of dying repeatedly, and if it's not a specific ritual and essentially somebody has to take a knife to somebody else or to themselves.
I'm sure there are easier ways, first of all. And second of all, it helps to have some kind of personal connection between the... Because otherwise, what incentive do they... this is the problem with the religious don't seem to understand that there are people who don't so much. I mean, at the very least, they should find the celestial or fae or whatever being that makes them more comfortable to be literally putting their souls back together. It's a prized heirloom, not a jigsaw puzzle.
Mhm. Sorry,
What?
I'm just surprised to hear that coming out of Remy and not me.
Hmm.
I
Ignore that. That's just a weird thing that seems to be something I'm still driven nuts by. Personal thing.
You're still getting looked at like, what the fuck?
Just that. Just still stunned by. Is Hazel still baffled by that question having come out of Remy and not?
Oh,
It's-
I heard that. You're still getting Lucas looking at you like you're just going to leave it at that careless scatter of words? Really? What?
I'm bad at this. I'm gonna need a few extra minutes to actually phrase it right.
I am going to start putting together food because maybe it is low blood sugar making some of you behave stupid. It doesn't wait
That
for
is a correct
doesn't wait
thing.
for a reply, and it heads into the.
While he's away, I would like to sneak off to any adjoining rooms and take a peek.
Okay, I would like you to make me a stealth check, please.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's just the resident tiefling just disappears from reality.
That depends on the roll, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, it does. That's just gonna be funny.
31.
Yeah. Hazel's too busy flailing and trying to put into words what her problem is with what Remy said, because I don't understand the problem with what Remy said. I understand why Remy said what Remy said, but anyway. Yeah, to be fair, the kitchen is literally the next room, so you wind up peeking and you find the Egreffian-style icebox. It's literally just a little pot-bellied stove that he's had to sort of clunk a fairly large pot on and start chopping random vegetables. There's a there's a door to the right that's partially open, and if you slip quietly in there, you will see that it is a bedroom with a adjoining bath. Inside... Oops, sorry, got it.
Oh, I was just going to ask, were there any personal effects that I could...
That's where I
see?
was going
Okay,
with that.
sorry.
I was giving you a chance to see if... I was basically taking a bit of a breathe, you know?
Okay, sure.
In the bedroom, there's honestly not very much in this house at all. But... Actually, I'm going to ask you to give me an investigation check.
Sure.
Because mostly what you're seeing is another second-hand painting, a bed, single bed, chest of drawers, and
29.
yeah, and a door into a bathroom. It takes some opening of drawers and some rummaging to find very much of anything. But rummage through the one end table, which is basically lamp, single drawer. You open that, and under a bunch of surprisingly carefully folded bandanas that probably serve as handkerchiefs is a small drawing. A half-orcish woman and a little girl. Little girl is holding plush bunny. Insight check.
Yep. 21.
You're running.
There's
Don't scare it away.
putting together where this little drawing is, how very empty he's keeping his life thus far, and the seriousness with which he approaches his current craft, they both died to the soul-taint. And probably, I mean, not recently, because he's been here for a while, but the grieving has not finished yet. But that's why he spent so long trying to track down some kind of immunity, so nobody else was going to have to suffer what he did. Of course, then obviously he found out that nobody without a PC's hit dice would be able to deal with it anyway, but he got his best clue as to how to go about this, you remember, from a bard. He obviously was okay enough to talk to this bard long term. There are a few routes you can go down that might get a smile out of him. He came close to... There was possibly a little twitch of his mouth when Alice was telling her story. That and bunnies. Bard songs and bunnies.
If only we hadn't cured Darvin.
Noms, I love you. Thank you. You win today.
Anyway,
Hands down.
is that sufficient for clarity?
Yeah, she's going to try to put everything as much back the way that she found it and sneak back to the group.
Okay, both of those are going to require a second stealth check.
Okay. .26.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that's how everything was, and I mean, it helped that he kept it so tidy because you can remember that there was an order and put things in the right order, and you managed to time it perfectly so that he's putting chunks of root vegetable into his pot when you slide back in. Cherie is just arranging her plate of potato puffs on the table, using prestidigitation to warm the food.
Sorry, Noodle, no potato puffs for you. They've got onions in them.
Are we sure that this particular type of dog has the same problems with onions?
I figured better safe than sorry.
Or we could ask.
That's true too.
Where were you off to?
I was looking for the loo.
Do I believe that?
Deception versus insight.
Where's my deception? Where is it? There it is. 5.
Well, to be fair, given your delivery there, you were asking for that roll.
I just read and I was
Yeah, sure. Cherie and Alice are both doing the same.
Babe,
I mean, I hope I'm on a mission. I am investigating.
What the hell is a loo?
It's
what the fuck?
it's a Cedar Grove term of art for the toilet.
Well, why?
I don't know. I just know it is.
That way lies madness.
It started.
It's amazing.
It
It's
started.
amazing how many times something comes up, and that way lies madness is the answer around here.
Look, in this case, you'd have to ask like 5 generations of noble before Ava.
No.
They're the ones that came up with
Right.
it. Okay, so it's that kind of madness.
So they were probably pissed at someone named Lou or Lewis or something like that.
If that's your guess, probably, maybe, who knows? You would have to straight up resurrect these people just to ask them.
Yeah, but it's nobility. You can never go wrong betting on petty.
That or some really twisted form of propriety.
Just a way to be obtuse about it, yes.
Or linguistics were really different, like centuries upon centuries ago. Who knows? Not me. Who cares, Ditto Mark?
You had plenty of linguistic drift.
Lucas starts bringing out bowls. I don't know where you're going to put. What are these? Potato puffs. Okay. What is in them? A potato, obviously. Onion. 3 different types of cheese. Egg to bind. And chunks of ham in some. And actually gives one to Noodle.
Oh, you can have them.
Noodle can occasionally eat rocks.
Oh.
Okay, does that apply to basically every creature native to here?
About the eating rocks,
Just being able to eat things that are incomprehensibly strange?
possibly. I don't follow the eating habits of all of them. I just follow the eating habits of Noodle. But not a lot grows.
Okay.
Not a lot grows around here, so I would imagine that if your biology could adapt to eating rocks, it's as good a food source as any.
Makes sense to me.
Hands bowl.
Sorry, to who?
Well, everybody, but as he's speaking to you, hands the bowl directly to you, and yeah, it's stew. You don't know what the meat is beyond. He said something about boulder bear, but
This is a case of I'm perfectly happy for this to surprise me. I'm just just going to settle and if this was a bowl big enough to distribute to other people or
no, you each got a bowl. Mostly
Got it.
because there's not really enough room on that table to put a large stew pot and have everybody sit at it, so he just brought out bowls. Yeah, the root vegetables are about what you'd expect. The meat is surprisingly tender for something called boulder bear. And kinda gamey. But good. When I say they look like boulder, have you heard of armadillo?
Yes.
Probably not. Remy might have. Barnabas would have. Clarity would have read about them. But
I have no idea.
Yep.
Just blank look. Farm girl.
Shuri, silent image, armadillo.
What?
Armadillo rolls up into little armored ball.
Is that why Boulder Bear?
Yes.
So it's
And
blue,
I'm
but
guessing
like
the
a
Boulder
hedgehog
Bear is
looks
bigger.
That was only a piece of boulder bear meat that went into all this stew. If it was smaller, I would have said rock bear or pebble bear.
I see.
How large by comparison?
Depends on how old they are. Like most things.
Okay.
But they keep growing, you see.
Even.
Definitely.
Wait, how long? would you guess?
Until something kills them.
That implies some can get terrifyingly big.
Those
Like the size of a house big.
those are then called mountain bears.
Hmm.
Blink, blink,
Kinda
blink,
terrifying.
blink, blink. Yeah, I've just errored out. Just trying to comprehend that has caused glitch.
Good. This one is going to be quiet, so we can talk like sensible people now.
Well, you've been so hospitable. If I could, I would like to regale you with a little bit of our adventures that we've been going through. You might find them amusing over a nice bowl of stew.
Okay.
So, we're missing our dear friend Darwin. He was off doing something. He is a bard. And a while back, we had come upon a pixie house. And we were trying to figure out how to talk to the pixies. There was communication issues, certainly, given that our bard does not speak Sylvan or Elvish or anything close to that. But we knocked and alarmed the poor pixie, and she made me confused. I ran off in a random direction and turned our dear friend Darwin into a bunny. And he went hopping around all over the place and I think actually ran into the tree. And there was confusion everywhere. And at some point, a dragon had learned about this. He eventually did turn back into a bard, and he was a very inspirational bunny, very cute. But our dear friend has this unfortunate tendency to stick his proverbial foot into his proverbial mouth and upset a dragon, and she decided that randomly throughout a day for the unforeseeable future he would just turn into a bunny in the middle of battle. Bunny talking to people and trying to tell a story. Bunny. And
Trying to take his boot off. Bunny landing in boot.
and yes, he eventually did get. How did he get out of that? I don't remember. But
He learned a valuable lesson. Mostly about there are times to keep your mouth shut, and you should not have to become a bunny in them to learn those lessons. But this one had been thinking, and we never got around to this. Kind of unfortunate that he figured out that lesson so early, so to speak, because this one was considering finding him a little bunny-sized fancy coat and hat with feather and little tiny lute, so that he could be Bunny Bard in truth. And don't tell him this, guys, because this is a surprise. I just haven't got around to actually giving it to him yet. Reaches into her bag of holding. Plush bunny. Dressed up as a bard.
He's gonna love that.
oh,
Looks over. Because Lucas is sort of little softer in the face, but without any particular words, excuses himself briefly. While he does that, Alice looks at her little plush bunny, looks at Clarity. I only have a very vague idea of what you're doing. I can have another one made. Tosses her the plush. Do with it what you will. And steps back in. It was a good story. Might have preferred to hear it from the bard, but the other bard, but I can tell you something else a little more fun if you want. If you can find more fun than a bunny randomly turning into a bard and vice versa in some of the weirdest situations. I think the absolute best one was when Clarity rejoined our group. He was running attempting to hug her. Mid-stride, bunny. Shpoom. And he didn't even notice. Just hop, 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 hop over to her, going, I don't know how I can hug you like this, but I don't care. Boing, 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 boing.
Yes, oh my god.
Yes, well, bunnies are like this, I suppose. It's almost a smile. Not quite there yet, but you guys are still a little too new. So far, anyway. So, beyond multiple deaths and all the rest of it and trying to find some kind of sponsor, if you don't have one already, is there anything else you need?
Out of character, was there anything that
Well, you were gonna try and
remember?
You were gonna try to find out what, a bit more about what of the other bits of research he was doing, and so far, apparently, what he'd done was determined the effects of the soul-taint on various different animals, and development of a material that can repel soul-taint. Because I imagine even with immunity, or if you can't have immunity for some reason, best to have a backup. And
He also said a cleansing that he was working on that didn't quite work out.
yeah, he's not talking about why. If asked about that, the almost smile kind of goes away. But
Yeah.
particularly Barnabas and Remy, who worked with the mercenary companies and were hoping for something to bring back to them, might want to ask him about the materials and how he's treated them to make them soul taint resistant.
Well, not to interrupt, but at least many of my former colleagues are dealing with this stuff. I think someone mentioned you were doing something with materials to resist the black shit, soul taint, whatever.
Yes. And nothing metallic, unfortunately. It tends to eat metallic quite a bit. But the more permeable fabrics and leathers, it's a costly substance to make, but I have, by this point, just about finished all the paperwork, so it should be viable for sending places. The formula, I mean.
Well, that's good news, that's for sure.
I'm trying to figure out if you're trying to ask for the finishing of the paperwork to be expedited so that it can get to the mercenaries sooner.
Well, things have only been getting worse in the south. And anything that will help them even keep a foothold out there, it's direly needed.
Keeping a foothold. This makes it sound like you're expecting them to move further elsewhere, out of the southern lands, beyond whatever it is they are doing to the eastern nations.
That
Well,
is
the
what we're
western
expecting.
nations. You're expecting them to come through Equitas.
Mm-hmm.
Blech. Of course you are. I will have a look and see how much of the testing material I have available, because it has all worked in all of the tests that I have done. And if I finish up the paperwork, that will take me about half an hour, I suppose, if I actually have to focus on it. It won't be much. It'll be enough for a couple of squads, but if I give you the paperwork, sure he is, I will ensure that it gets expedited into fabrication in Agrav. Of course you would. So you're just everybody's secretary? No, but I'm the best of them. Fair enough. Everybody's looking at me, so I'm going to go and pick up canisters now. And comes back a little while later with 3 canisters that look about the same size and shape, including the handles, as your average can of paint. Clank. Cloth, you have to dip into it. Leather, you have to... It will work if you just paint over the leather, but it's better to actually treat the leather in advance.
Gotcha. Well, thank you.
And this is the finished paperwork, Cherie, just you ink. Alright, we're going to have to make an adjustment there. If you'd initial that... Oh, for pity's sake. Well, you want it done quickly, don't you? Yes. You're quiet for adventurers.
Was there anything else that you were working on, or because you said that there were a few other that you had a few projects going?
Well, yes, I think I mentioned most of them, but most of them are not immediately helpful. I have some notes on what happens to varieties of wildlife that are exposed to the soul-taint. I tend to keep that a little bit on the down low because nobody is interested in hearing how bad it could get. And the notes on attempting cleansing of the wildlife is not precisely a good read unless you want to read about the multitude of ways in which animals can explode.
Whoa.
Or in some cases melt.
I'm still that's still more information on on even the possibility of cleansing than we've had at all. So I'd be interested in reading that. I'm trying to, at any rate.
Looks reluctant, and Shri is, look, if we take them with us, I will speak to the governor of Egref's secretary and ensure that copies are taken and we send the originals back to you in your next supply drop. I suppose that would be alright, but don't be surprised if people look at it and go, "Yee." We're going to send it to the Sunlands. I imagine that they've got all the, as you put it, yeeg out of their system by now. I will go get the papers then. And yeah, couple of good sized, the average hardback book, kind of, but big hardback book. Thump. Now keep in mind that this particular fauna is, and a lot of it is desert. Obviously, a lot of it is from around here. I did various others, but I think people were less than happy to be sending me test samples for this kind of thing, which I cannot blame them for. But as much Agriffian as it makes me sound, sometimes with science it has to be practical.
Yeah.
The only animal that I can think of off the top of my head that I have not managed to write anything about, and it's mostly the forest dwelling. I have problems getting the forest dwelling, and up until today I thought that it would not matter because none of the forest areas were tainted, but apparently they are, so I'm going to have to make a few more requisitions and hope I don't get particularly rude dismissal letters. I'll tell you what, I will ensure that you get the livestock you need. Just make me a list. Reads through. You're missing rabbits. Yes, I suppose I am. She looks and just kind of leaves it at that, because she knows people fairly well, and yep. We'll see to it regardless.
Are there any samples that we might be able to collect for you that you might just, in case we come upon something?
Well, if any of you feels like writing down any of the any of the details you might have, because all you would have is physical external changes, which is a start, but you need a bit more than that to determine, for example, whether the soul-taint would be transmissible by bite, which it is in some things and not in other things, because it doesn't always get to the salivary glands, you see. Blood is almost always a cop-out, but sometimes it manages to avoid some of the major organs. Not many, but some.
We did see the effects of it when it was ingested. I don't know how helpful that is, but
Ingested by what?
People.
yeah.
Okay, I'm not allowed to do those tests. But I'm pretty sure I have an idea of what happens when it is ingested. The same thing it happens if it comes into your system any other way.
Fair enough.
Should also be noted that we have seen its effects on dragon eggs. There is a veining of black on dragon eggs.
I have actually... One of the places I went when I first started researching was the Silver Vault. The things I had to do to get places to unlock. And I heard things about the tainting of dragon eggs and what comes of it, how it makes the draconians. So, I am reasonable there. If you ever manage to get a hold of a draconian to be dissecting, I'll be doing the dissecting. I'll trust Clarity to make notes. Okay then.
just briefly out of character, did he? Because I'm not entirely sure I understood some earlier bits of that. Did the guy say when it comes to showing Hazel what the research on cleansing was so
That's
far?
that's what the two big notebooks were.
Gotcha. That just somehow went completely past me. I didn't even notice the notebooks thing.
Okay.
I think that about covers everything.
Yeah, and then in which case I am now elbow deep in notebook.
I'm sorry, are you going to be doing your research here?
No, we'll take it with
Just
us and return it.
Yeah, just getting an early start.
You're getting the look of, why are you making yourself comfortable in my house?
Thank you
Yeet.
so much for your help and for your hospitality. If there's nothing else, we can get out of your hair.
Look, said Hazel, that would be a good idea, yes.
Very much. You're just immediately closing the book that I had out and just booking it.
No pun intended.
Mm.
And Clarity's gonna
Thank
hang
you.
back.
Yeah, partially because she's aware that Clarity's up to something. Alice is just gonna herd everybody, Hazel in particular, out. We can draw our teleportation circle or do whatever teleporty shit we're going to do outside.
Leave the poor guy alone. Leave the poor guy alone. Leave the poor guy alone. Very, very quickly.
And Alice somewhere in the middle of leave the poor guy alone, slap hand across, still with a hand on the back. Come on, Hazel.
I'm just complying as this is happening.
Yeah. And that's what you hear as they...
getting herded out, still doing it, just, panic muttering to self.
Yeah, but in this case through Alice's hand, which is slightly smushing your jaw anyway, so... She knows how to silence a Hazel by now!
Good. I'm grateful for that.
So yes, okay, so Clarity hangs back.
And she's going to just say thank you again, and I couldn't help but notice that that my stories seem to uplift you a little, and that you don't experiment on bunnies. And I understand a fondness for animals, and I was thinking, I thought maybe I could give you this, and it would help liven up the place.
That does get a smile. Thank you, but I have what I need. A plush animal, a painting, just about anything else can be taken. Everything except what is in here. I keep so little around because I don't want anything to distract from the work I do and what is in here. But I thank you for your thought.
I understand. Would it be okay if I sent you letters sometime? Just to say hi?
I think that would make things harder. It is easy to be used to being alone. And I usually like it this way. Too much reminder of elsewhere might make it harder.
I gotcha.
But again, thank you. It is nice that you think of me. I am not interested in being thought too much of. this fixed. And it's not safe to be around people while I'm studying the things. Maybe, if it is ever completely defeated, I will go back to the lunatic town of my birth and try to people again. But in the meantime, I'm working on this and keeping the pretties in here. So thank you.
You're welcome. And rest assured, I'm trying my best to fix it too.
Probably for similar reasons.
Yes.
Gives a little nod. Now go before your friend with the big green bow vibrates herself into oblivion.
She's my girlfriend. I'm used to it. But thank you. Bye.
Nope, not doing that again.
This is the second time in 2 days.
Time in 2 days.
Maybe you just need to keep the armrests down so you have something to hold on to. So yes, eventually clarity comes out. Okay, we good?
Yeah. He didn't particularly want it, but liked the thought. So thank you. And
Okay,
the bunny.
cool. This means that the surprise isn't going to be spoiled for Darwin anyway. So cool. But it was helpful anyway.
Yes, very much so.
Cool. Okay. We good? We ready to?
Yep, I think so.
So back to the egg ref one because I apparently have a performance tonight.
Think we go.
And back you go. Well, we do have. I asked for the performance to be at about 8 to give us some time for dinner, so we do have a couple of hours to kill before we have to even think about dinner. And I need to borrow Barnabas. Grab. Yoink!
Have fun.
We'll
If
meet,
I'm not back, avenge death.
we'll meet you at the center of the eatery district in 2 hours.
Okay.
Basically going, we're having your hooves looked at. You've been crossing some issue-laden terrain the last couple of weeks.
All right.
See, one of the things that I asked about when I was dealing with that phone call, because I don't, as far as I can tell, the Minotaurs in Ravnica didn't do this, but the satyrs here do. You know about shoeing a horse?
Yeah. Oh. Doesn't that involve something being nailed into the bottom of my hoof?
Yes, but into the part that doesn't feel anything. But if it splits, could... Actually, you're passing a bench push. Sit.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Holds up. Yes, I mean, it looks a little red in the soft part there and taps a bit beneath it. See?
Okay.
And you're starting to develop a couple of splits in there. I may have asked some questions at the bathhouse when you went to have your hoof and horn polish.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
I love you. I think about these things.
I love you too. Here.
And yeah, there's a little spot that this is another one that doesn't have a name. It just has a sign with a large horseshoe on it, but inside is not just like your average blacksmith, although there's a bit in the back, like you have a piercing area in like clairs and places. The rest of it is clothes, particularly trousers, designed for that habitus of leg.
Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Ambia does the best. Egref does everything.
Yeah.
I'll look around and see if I can find anything particularly interesting for you. Well, yes, hello. Martin. A human looks over. Okay, that's... Hi. Yes, we
Hi.
had this conversation. I know it's still a little bit shocking. I do apologize, sir.
I'm used to it. It's all right.
But yes, fighter. Interesting powers involving teleportation. So, yeah, I think I know the right runes I can use to put on the hooves to make them follow along with that. All right then. I'll leave you to it, and I will go window shopping.
All right.
Yeah, and about 20 minutes later, Barnabas has, well, I mean, cow shoes.
Horseshoes.
Yeah,
Cow
cow shoes. Bull shoes, who knows. Hoof accoutrement. And Cherie has, like, half of a new wardrobe for him. Well, I'm sorry, there's only so many dates I will have with you in armor.
Uh,
I have paid
I
for
mean-
them, you can carry them. Woomph.
Yeah. Gladly. That's good.
Listen, were any of the rest of you looking for anything particularly interesting while they're doing this kind of thing?
One question is: the roads in Egref, are they cobblestone? Is it or?
It's actually closer to pavement as we know it, partially
Okay.
because, as well as the trams, they actually have motorized vehicles. Some of them are
Okay.
magic powered, some of them are steam powered. You will see the gnome who is on the human-sized Harley Davidson go past.
Well, the reason why I ask is Barnabas is gotta get a kick out of going clank, 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 walking down pavement.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, it goes clank, clank, clank everywhere else, but the noise resonates better with the jingle, jangle, jingle of his armor.
True.
And Alice is going to wind up going back to that Arakokra shop because after some of the shit she's been through, she's down a couple of decent shirts and wants to see if she can ask them to make something that might be ready by the time Ava's gun is. Clarity wanted to go to Puzzled for clockwork putty together set. So if the rest of you...
I'm not reading the books, I'm going with clarity.
Yeah, well, apparently we're not reading the books until we're settled down somewhere. Because it's too big to read while walking.
Yep.
So, yeah, a couple of hours pass. I'm assuming most of you are just getting dragged to Puzzled, unless you're Remy, who's probably going with Alice. I don't think Ryland saw Puzzled. It's basically, you know, one of those science for kids puzzles, and chemistry sets and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, they are demonstrating a slinky. They've built up a set of stairs and descending is one of those multicolored plastic slinkies. So, so you go in and you watch it walk down the stairs.
Clarity's gonna get one.
And yeah, there are a few. I mean, there's a few for beginners, clockwork sets, but the best one is the somewhat fancy build the clock tower on the train station. You build the tower. You put together the clockwork yourself. The halfling that's currently doing the sales assistant thing explains you probably want to, if this is your first time, try a couple of the larger ones to get the hang of it first, and then when you are more confident, you can try the clock tower kit. It should, when properly assembled, not only tell the correct time, but also show what the sky looks like in Egref at the time.
Whoa.
The same way the clock does.
That's amazing. I will take one of the bigger ones and this one, because I don't know when I'll be back.
Fair enough. It's 15 gold total. They given the purchasing you're making, they throw in the slinky for free.
Nice.
But yeah, there's Rylan might potentially be interested in. Apparently, there's everything from those things where you have basically chia pets.
Mm-hmm.
They have everything from chia pets to kids' first planting of like sunflowers, tomatoes, and that kind of thing, and some bonsai tree kits. I don't think Ryland has ever seen trees so very small, but because this is Agref, it's not just your regular bonsai tree. They've done miniaturized everything. They've got oak, maple, pine, but just miniature trees.
Fascinating. How do you get a tree that's small?
Science and magic.
How much do these go for?
It depends on the breed. Some of them take a little more care than others. I am personally a fan of our miniature weeping willows, and they go for 10 gold. The pines, they also go for 10 gold. The maples actually give maple syrup, which is why they have to be 15 gold. Because literally you can tap, you tap them, and it's not very much sap, but you can make a small amount of maple syrup out of it if you treat it properly.
Do they have mini cherry trees?
We do not. We have mini apple trees. The apples are the size of cherries, you see. Cherries on a miniature cherry tree would probably not be very big.
Well, it's mostly for flowers, but yeah, apple trees good too.
Apple blossoms are nice. But they're also a 15 gold one. Basically, the ones that are predominantly ornamental are 10 gold, and the ones that you can actually have something useful from are 15 gold.
And let me have one of the maples. Can take care of them.
They can go with they can go with the rest of the plants in your immediate vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
is
And I'll get one of the apple ones.
Book. So yeah, when everybody meets back up, you've got Clarity probably knowing her playing with the slinky, and Ava and Rylan each carrying miniature trees.
This has been quite the little adventure.
Sounds like it.
The adventures never stop.
Check it out, everybody. I got shoes.
Cool.
I call that a win.
Yeah.
He
Clank, clank.
is also got new clothes. As I told him, there are only so many dates I will go with him on when he is in full armor.
How fancy did you make him?
Most of it
As
is
fancy
most of it is
as she
smart
wanted it to be.
casual. Most of it is smart casual. There are a couple of fancier bits and pieces. At least one, because Governor Zet has made me promise that once this is over, he is going to host us for a meal. Because given my parents are still in Belarus, he largely stands as the father figure in my life, and he is, as per Amberian custom, he is going to be doing the, you know the drill.
Yes. I think I do.
Looking at it.
Look. I mean, it's one thing when it's just your father figure. It's dragon.
Have you seen him make that face before?
Out of character. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because it seems like it's definitely rare, but familiar.
Well, we've definitely seen it before. In any case, Darwin being Darwin, he has more or less insisted that we do Harleys again. Apparently he's decided that we all need that level of luxury after some of the nonsense that we've been through. Then he looked at me and said something to the order of, also, you're used to the fancy anyway, so I think he's trying to keep up to my standards. And after that, yes, I am ready for the performance. I will buy everybody a round of drinks when we get there. This is gonna be fun.
You're gonna do an awesome. You always do an awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's just not subject matter I ever wanted to dance.
Yeah. Probably.
Unfortunate. But better from the source than anywhere else.
Yep. It's just the whole thing where I imagine that a fair bit of the historical community is going to be turning up to this thing. I get why, but still. So yes, Harley surfing her fanciness. Ho. And because we're relatively close to that time, we'll pick up again, probably skirting over most of this, and at the very least using that time to decide what you are going to do with all the information you now have. And Lindira, I will try to get back to you within the next 2 weeks about how effective your mission for your patron was and what we can do with that. So
Okay.
I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Later, guys.